Over the years, the UFC has put together great title fights, but injuries have forced both champions and number one contenders out of them title fights, which has led the UFC to make last-minute title fights in order to save the pay-per-view. So here is 5 last-minute title fights in the UFC. Number 5. Jon Jones was scheduled to face number one contender Anthony Johnson at UFC 187. Just a couple of weeks before the fight, Jon Jones was involved in a hit-and-run accident and was stripped of his UFC light heavyweight title. Daniel Cormier, who was coming off a unanimous decision loss to Jon Jones at UFC 182, stepped in on short notice and was ready to face Anthony Johnson for the vacant UFC light heavyweight title at UFC 187. In the fight, Daniel Cormier defeated Anthony Johnson by a rear naked choke in the 3rd round to become the new UFC light heavyweight champion of the world. Number 4. Jose Aldo was scheduled to face number one contender Conor McGregor at UFC 189. Just 2 weeks before the fight, Jose Aldo hurt his rib in training and was forced out of the bout. Top-ranked featherweight Chad Mendes stepped in on short notice to face Conor McGregor in the main event at UFC 189 for now the interim UFC featherweight title. In the fight, Conor McGregor defeated Chad Mendes by TKO in the 2nd round to become the interim UFC featherweight champion of the world. Number 3. Daniel Cormier was scheduled to face number one contender Anthony Johnson in a rematch at UFC 206. Leading up to the event, Daniel Cormier suffered an injury and was forced to pull out of the fight. Anthony Johnson was offered Gegard Mousasi as a late replacement but declined to fight him, saying he wanted to face Daniel Cormier at a later date. The featherweight bout between Max Holloway and Anthony Pettis was shifted to the main event, where they would now be fighting for the interim UFC featherweight title. In the fight, Max Holloway defeated Anthony Pettis by TKO in the 3rd round to become the interim UFC featherweight champion of the world. Number 2. Daniel Cormier was scheduled to face former champion Jon Jones in a rematch at UFC 197. In their first fight at UFC 182, Jon Jones defeated Daniel Cormier by a unanimous decision. Leading up to UFC 197, Daniel Cormier injured his foot and was forced out of the bout. He was replaced with top light heavyweight Ovince St. Preux, who would now face Jon Jones in the main event for the interim UFC light heavyweight title. In the fight, Jon Jones defeated Ovince St. Preux by a unanimous decision to become the interim UFC light heavyweight champion of the world. Number 1. With a 6-fight winning streak, Joe Soto was set to make his UFC debut against Anthony Burchak at UFC 177. The main event of the card was Renan Barão facing off against TJ Dillashaw for the UFC bantamweight title. On the day of the weigh-ins, Renan Barão was admitted to the hospital due to collapsing whilst cutting weight. In the last-minute replacement, newcomer Joe Soto was given the main event slot against TJ Dillashaw for the UFC bantamweight title. In the fight, even though Joe Soto gave TJ Dillashaw a good fight, TJ Dillashaw finished him by knockout via a head kick and punch to retain his UFC bantamweight title.